Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Every leader has a journey. With the Leaders Speak, I'm trying to get to know their journey, what are the hurdles they have faced, and how their day looks like being an entrepreneur. The things that we can learn from them. And I would like to thank Dhillon for joining me today at Leaders Speak. Some of the people I respect the most, I have learned the most, and Dhillon is one of them. I'm your host, Vandana Verma, and let me welcome Dhillon, who is one of the founder and chief executive officer of Hack in the Box, which most of the people are aware. He's an organizer for HITB SecConf, which is held annually for over a decade in various countries, including Malaysia, the Netherlands, and the UAE. HITB ConfSec routinely brings together some of the world's leading subject matter experts, law enforcement officials, and independent researchers to discuss the next generation of attack and defense methods. Prior to quitting his job to lead the HITB team on crazy adventures around the world, Dhillon started off at the height of dotcom craze as a technology journalist with PC World, ZDnet, MIS Asia, and CNet. With a bubble burst, he moved on to Malaysia Telco as Chief IT Officer to spend his days in the world of Cisco AS5300s in a land of pocket switched networks at a time when Asterisk did not just mean, wow. Thank you so much, Dhillon, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Oh man, I've been around for such a long time. Like now that you read it out and you kind of mentioned the .com time. Like wow, yeah, that's a long time ago. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. And I am sure we all want to know about how did you come up with your venture and like all the ventures. Hack in the Box, HITV, SecConf is just to name a few, but you have so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah. Everybody always asks me like, how do you find the time to do so many things? But yeah, I mean, let's start with Hack in the Box, right? So I mean, originally back in the day, so we're talking like in early 2000s, or even like in end of '99. In Asia, in Malaysia, the network security community was and still is actually very small, right? And for us, going to conferences like DEF CON in the US was like, yeah, man, that's where it's at, right? Like we read the news, we hear about all the cool things that they are talking about and all the cool stuff that they're presenting. And yeah, you wanna be able to go and do that, but it costs so much money. Right, the flight ticket, the hotel stay, like all of those things that you had to use to pay for to go, right? Like and then of course our Malaysian currency is so weak, and we just can't afford it, right? So I said to myself and to some of our friends, and we're like, hey, why don't we try and do something like a DEF CON conference, you know what I mean? Like, and they looked at me and like, bro, why the heck would anybody come? You know what I mean? They really don't even know where the heck Malaysia is. As in, if you invite all of these foreign speakers, right, they might be like, where is this country? And I said, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, we're not well known in the network security scene as a country that's got a lot of hackers or a lot of very technical people or anything, but let's just try, right? And it started with that. So we had this vision of kind of doing a conference that's affordable, so like not so expensive, something that normal people like us could afford, but have high quality content, so high quality talks, and invite like the folks that we look up to, right? Our heroes at the time, that the people that we read about on the internet, and we're like, yeah, man, I want to meet that guy, man. Like that guy's cool, man. And it started with that, right? And we did it in Malaysia, and then we experimented a bit. We went to Bahrain for a little while because somebody invited us there, and then yeah, we didn't work out. We had to come back to Malaysia again. And we've just essentially been experimenting. I mean, we went out to Amsterdam. We've been in Amsterdam now for like more than a decade. So when we started it out, it was more of like, let's just try, right? Like the whole reason why we started Hacking the Box is that if you never try, you never know. And it was with that we kind of like started the conference thing, right? So the Hack in the Box conference it's always been kind of a passion project, if you kind of think of it that way. I mean, most of us have day jobs. I mean, now obviously we've been doing this for like 20 years, right? So this is our job, but there's only like a 3 or 4 people that actually quote unquote work in Hack in the Box, right? Everybody else is a volunteer, and they are crew, as in we call them crew, and but they don't draw a salary, right? They do Hack in the Box, or they help us to organize the conference, and and hang out with us and organize stuff like the CTF and things like that. But they don't do it because we are paying them to do it. They do it because they love it. And I think that's one of the core things that makes Hack in the Box different from other conferences, right? Is that we didn't start it with the intent of like, oh yeah, we can make a lot of money, right? Like, in fact, even now we struggle to get by. We still have to go chase sponsors and beg people to like support what we're trying to do, because we like to support the community. We give out student tickets. We give out exhibition space to OWASP or any of like the hackerspace guys, and so we kind of depend on sponsors. So nothing's really changed. I mean, even after 20 years, right? Like we still have that hacker spirit, of like just do what it takes to make it happen. And because we love it, it's not because somebody's paying us to do it.
If you say that Malaysia was never known to people, it is known to people. And
Yeah,
it
now I guess.
the yeah. And this conference has grown so big. Trust me, every person in security in India knows about it. I'm sure not just in India, but around the world, everybody knows.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. I mean, I always say that I'm just the guy that answers emails, but the credit always goes to the HITB team, as in the
Hmm.
guys that are volunteering and pulling the cables and putting their time and energy into making it happen. Because I just chase people on email and like, ask the
Right.
sponsors, and that's my day, right? I always say I am
Yeah.
the guy who answers emails. That's my job designation.
Force behind the thing. And I was checking one more thing. There was some other initiative, hackers over coffee.
Yeah. Coffee for hackers. Yeah. So
What's that?
because
Yeah.
so because of COVID, right? Like the conference business, not to say that we are not doing it, we're still doing it, but everything changed, right? Like the entire business industry for conferences is completely different from 2019 event to what it is now. As in, we didn't do virtual conference like with Zoom and stuff like that, right? You had Zoom obviously, but we used it sparingly. Now it is kind of like the cornerstone of all events, right? Almost every single virtual conference use Zoom or something derivative of Zoom, like a video conferencing kind of a thing. So the entire conference business has died, I would say, as in the old style of conference, right? And so with that, I personally had a lot of time. And then I was sitting at home, right? We're not flying around the world doing conferences and pulling cables anymore. We're just sitting around waiting for things to get better, hopefully. And because of that, I like to drink coffee. Actually, most of the hacker guys that come for Hack in the Box, I think there was a year that we consumed like 50 kilos of coffee in like 2 days or 3 days, right? Because we just drink so much of it. And because I like coffee and I dabble a little bit at home with like making coffee, as in like trying different single origins and different types of coffee from around the world. But they're expensive. Like the coffee beans are expensive, and I always looked at it. And I'm like, why the hell is it so expensive? I mean, somewhere along the line, this feels like the music industry. You know what I mean? Like you have a recording artist, they make the music, but they don't get paid much, right? And when I did some research about coffee farming, it's the same situation. Like you find that the farmers go through all of the trouble to like, get the best possible beans, and then they send it to some guys who will evaluate it. And then they buy it in stock, and then they, whatever, they ship it and distribute it. And then by the time it ends up to you, after it's been roasted and all these other processes, it suddenly becomes like super expensive, but the farmer only made like a small bit, right? So we're like, man, this
Yeah.
is like the music industry, man. So I had some time and I figured out like, hey, why don't we just try and look and see how we, not to say disrupt the coffee industry, that's not our intent, right? I don't really like that word. It's just more of like, how can we improve upon what's already there? So we looked up, farmers and farms and kind of like talked to them about how do we get the beans from them. And then we found out that you can't just import it. You need a special permit. You can't just go buy green coffee beans. Like you need special permission, and then you need equipment to roast it. And then of course, roasting it is not like just turn on the oven. There's a recipe. So I spent the last year basically of 2020 learning more about coffee and the production and the roasting and everything that goes into making coffee, or at least like what ends up in your cup. And then I opened a company around it to take what I learned and send these kind of like cool coffees that I found, as in that I've discovered, I've tasted, and like, oh, this is really good bean. I'm gonna buy this bean and roast it, and I'll ship it to people. And I'll tell them it's coffee for hackers because I'm a hacker and I like this coffee. If I like it, you should
Hmm.
like it. Ergo, coffee for hackers. So it was just something fun to do while I was waiting around for COVID to go away, which it doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yeah, that's an incredible idea. So you're doing multiple things and making sure
Yeah,
that different things, an innovative way, I should say. So when you start your day,
yeah,
I'm sure there are so many hurdles that come your way. There are so many things that might be concerning or challenges that
yeah.
might come
Always,
your way. So
always.
what are those? How do you tackle them?
Oh man, like it's a never-ending list, right? So I guess the main thing is knowing that number one, knowing that it never ends. So, you can clear your inbox, but tomorrow there's going to be a whole brand new set of emails to and problems to solve as well, right? So no, it doesn't end. So with that in mind, is then how do I start my day? Well, I wake up ridiculously early. I wake up at like 5 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning. I just like waking up early, and then I have a good cup of coffee. Starts with that, and then I check my email. But essentially, I don't really deal with the problems essentially, as in like instantaneously. In fact, I found like in the past when I used to just check my email first thing in the morning, as in before I did anything else, get out of bed, like open my laptop, start checking email, and start replying to the emails. The replies to the emails that I would send would be when I read it back again, and I'm like, man, I could have done a better job. As in, I could have worded it better, or I could have thought up of a better idea to a solution to that problem. And it's not like I have the best solutions in the world, but it's just that the way I worded it could have been better if I just had some coffee, or just didn't do the email the first thing. So I tend try not to check my inbox like first thing in the morning, you know what I mean, like maybe after an hour or something like that. But yeah, I mean, the problems don't end, right? So I don't let it kind of worry me, because tomorrow's another day.
Mhm.
You might be dead, right? I mean, that's also a possibility. So I always
Right.
say, like, I wake up each day, and I do the best I can with the time that I have and with the information that is in front of me, and I make the best decisions I can based on what I know.
I think this is the kind of positivity that we need at this time. Like when we are dealing with so many things at once, we are home, we are wearing multiple hats, and then there's a pandemic going outside.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
we need to be positive, and then only we can deal with it.
The situation is the situation. You know what I mean? And then it is what it is, right? Like there's only so much you can do about it, but your response is within your control. How you react to the situation when when a car bangs into your car and you get into an accident, you have a few choices of response, right?
Mm.
You can choose to get out and be like super pissed off. You can choose to whatever, right? Be upset about it. I mean, you have a few choices. So your response is always within your control. The external circumstances aren't. So understand what you can control. So you can control how you react, you can control by how you interpret it. And it's easy to be the defeatist. It's easy to be the guy who's saying that this sucks, that sucks, this is screwed up, that is screwed up, right? Like, that's easy, man. Like, we can sit here all day long and start picking apart at everything in the world that is wrong with the world, or how we would do it better, right? But either do it or don't do it.
What are the three advices that you can give it to your mentees, the people who are your juniors? So what are
Okay.
those? But
Okay.
yeah, please.
I would say that, especially the guys that are in flux, as in they're going to graduate or they have just graduated, and then now they've inherited a world that is completely different, right? Jobs have changed. The way we do business has changed. We don't travel anymore. We
Yes.
don't fly places. At least not for now. Maybe we will soon, and probably we will, but it will never be the same. That is a fact. If you look at September 11, for example, after that, like, air travel was never the same, right? So today, if now COVID, we're wearing masks and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, that's going to be like the constant, right? So for those guys that are now in the most difficult situation, the people like you and me, we already have we've done what we needed to do.
Mm.
So yeah, if the world is screwed up, it's not that bad. But those guys, I really feel for them, and my advice to them is more of, don't sweat it, just relax, because like I said, nobody knows anything, right? And it's so unpredictable. Nobody predicted COVID, for example, right? Nobody predicted that it would work out to be as bad as it is, or that things would change as drastically as they did. That oil went to negative dollars, as in, like, who would have ever predicted that would happen? Nobody would bet on that, right? So
Right.
don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about tomorrow and the day after and the month after that. Focus on what you can do now, as in what's within yourself. So you're in security. You just got out you just graduated, whatever, right? There's probably various different aspects of network security that interest you. could be whatever malware, it could be AI. Like I love AI stuff, right? Like, it could be whatever, anything. So pick that, learn more about it, and the best way to learn is by doing. As in, so teach. And how can you teach? As in, like, I don't have anybody to teach. Yeah, no problem, man. Like, you can easily record yourself, and you can upload it to YouTube, and you could just show people what you are working on. What is exciting to you? You know, I'm passionate about the coffee thing. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about coffee for 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like, so ask yourself that, as in, what is it that motivates you? Because nobody can tell you externally what is it that makes you happy. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell you what is it that when you wake up in the morning you're like, I want to do this today, man. Like, it's that you're excited about it, right? So find that. Don't worry whether it's going to be able to make you money, because nobody knows exactly what jobs will or wouldn't be here. There wasn't an Uber 5, 10 years ago, right? There wasn't, like, ride sharing stuff didn't exist. The food delivery business wasn't there. There are new markets, new verticals opening all the time. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one that comes up with a new vertical, man. Maybe you thought out of something new. Why not? Why can it not be you, right? Like, I always ask that question, why not? Why can it not be you? No, this must be some other guy. No, it could be you, man. But you have to do it. Nobody's gonna do it for you.
Totally. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
That's my advice, man.
What
Like,
a
don't
great
worry
advice.
about it. Don't worry about it. Just, like, find something you like, find something you're passionate about. Find people who share that same passion with you. Motivate each other, help each other. Don't It's not a competition, man. It's not a competition. It's a collective, right? We're only as strong as each other. There's a saying in French from the Hekito ergo sum, like, none of us is stronger than all of us. And that's always going to be true, no matter what. Like, no matter whatever happens, right? It's the collective humanity that is going to pull us through, right? So you are part of humanity, right? And hackers are a very fundamental part, because we question everything. We don't take things at face value. And that's an important thing to never lose. Never lose that inquisitiveness. Never lose that why. Why is it that we are doing this? Just because somebody said that is the way it's done doesn't mean it's the best way. It is a way, one of the ways. It's not the only way. That's hacking, man. It's taking things and just saying, how can I make it better, man? How can I make it just much better than it is? It's not about breaking, it's about building. Actually, people forgotten. That's what hacking is, actually. It's building stuff. It's not breaking stuff.
It's such a pleasure speaking with you. It's so much to learn from you. Things going on, but you're finding your interest maybe for coffee, maybe for hacking, maybe for HITB sec. So it's incredible to speak to you. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to speak to me as well. Like, I really appreciate it. I hope your readers and your viewers got something from it.
Absolutely. I can totally say that. That so I started this for my own learning
Oh,
because there's a
excellent.
lot going on. Yeah.
Penultimate example of what I just said, man. Like, you started it, right? You're driving this. You determine how many people you interview and what happens tomorrow. You decide it. You do it. Right. You take care. Thank you so much again for thinking of me and for thinking of us. Wish everybody to stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon in one of the Hang in the Box events. Yeah.